What if I told you there's a footballer who physically can't score a normal goal?
Haaland arriving. Haaland!
From stunning acrobatics to unstoppable strikes. From blistering pace to overlaps that leave defenders gasping for air, Erling Haaland is not just a striker, he's a phenomenon. The Norwegian giant is breaking every record imaginable when it comes to goals.
I upped the debate that we have this week. I said, not only is Erling Haaland the best striker in the world, right now, he is the best player in the world.
Every shot feels like a thunderclap. Every celebration a reminder that no one on earth can stop him.
And maybe a chance. Can he turn? Good save! Mukoto trying to squeeze it in, and they have scored! Erling Haaland!
At just 25 years old, Haaland isn't only the best striker in the world right now, some are already calling him the greatest in football history. His highlights are pure chaos and beauty volleys, rockets, headers, sprints. You can lose hours on YouTube just watching him dismantle defences. And behind those unreal numbers, 319 goals in 359 games, there's a story of obsession, precision, and evolution.
Yes!
With Manchester City, he conquered the historic treble. With Norway, he's carrying a nation back to the World Cup for the first time since 1998.
Para Martin Odegaard. Filtró el balón con Haaland!
But here's the real question. How did he do it? How did Haaland develop this freakish ability to make scoring look effortless against anyone, anywhere? To find out, we need to go back in time, all the way to the year 2000, when the legend first began. Erling Haaland's story begins far from the icy fjords of Norway and Leeds, England, in the year 2000. At that time, his father, Alf Inge Haaland, was playing for Leeds United, having built a solid career in English football after rising through the ranks at his hometown club, Brine.
Blackburn's misfortune to face him on the rebound and in the right mood. There's a lot more to the Norwegian's repertoire, it seems.
Football was already in his blood, the sound of crowds, the rhythm of match days that surrounded Erling from the moment he was born. But just 3 years later, tragedy would quietly strike the Haaland family. Alf Inge was forced to retire early, at only 30 years old, due to serious knee injuries. Most fans remember that brutal tackle from Roy Keane, a moment etched into Premier League history. But what few realise is that his career was already hanging by a thread due to problems in his other knee. The end came swiftly, and with it, the family's chapter in England closed. The Haalands returned to Norway, where Alf Inge started a new life as a real estate developer. Yet his passion for football never faded, and neither did his desire to see his son succeed where he couldn't. Soon, a young Erling joined the youth academy of Brine FK, the same club where his father had begun. But unlike his dad, who had been a defender and midfielder, Erling wanted to attack. He wanted to score. His first coach, Alf Ingvar Berntsen, still remembers that Sparker kid who trained harder than anyone, who never stopped running, who smiled every time he hit the net.
From 7, 8, 9, 10 years, though you just see there's something special going on from early age.
From the very beginning, Haaland wasn't just playing football, he was built for it. By 2005, Brine FK had built an indoor pitch, a small world of artificial grass that became Erling Haaland's playground.
Jeg ser, så du sønnen til
Alf Inge Haaland.
Det helt riktig. Du heter Erling, og du skåret 2 mål. Hvem det som har lært deg å skåre mål? For faren kunne det ikke.
Jeg aner ikke. Meg selv?
Han får ikke noe æren for det, han.
Nei. Alt andre får han æren.
Every weekend, the doors were open, and Erling would be there from dawn till dusk. 20 or so kids would gather, but there was something different about the blonde boy who never stopped running, never stopped shooting. He was smaller than most, a year younger, thinner, still waiting for that growth spurt, but none of it mattered. Even when he faced bigger, stronger opponents, he kept scoring. It was pure instinct, the hunger to find the net. His coaches began to whisper about him. When he was 11 or 12, we already knew he would go far, said one of them. We knew he had what it took to play for Norway one day. and soon that prediction came true. During the 2015 to 2016 season, Haaland made his debut for Norway's under-15 team and shone with 18 goals in 14 matches for Brine's reserves, an outrageous tally for someone still learning to handle his own body. That's when fate connected two generations again. Gunnar Halle, a former Leeds United teammate of Alf Inge Haaland, was coaching Norway's youth sides. When he saw Erling for the first time, he recognised the fire, but not yet the power. "The first time I saw Haaland, he was small and skinny," Halle told Goal. "He wasn't exceptional yet. His physicality and coordination still needed time to develop. Nobody could have imagined what he'd become." And yet, that weakness became his secret weapon, because before his body turned into a machine, he learned to read the game to move smarter, anticipate and strike at the perfect moment. Those lessons, forged when he was still just a boy in Brine, are the foundation of the monster we see today. By May 2016, a big shift arrived at Brine FK. Head coach Gaute Larsson was dismissed, and Alf Ingvar Berntsen, the man who had watched Erling grow up, was promoted to interim manager. He knew exactly what the young forward could do, and he didn't hesitate for a second.
In fact, he was pretty much like now. He smiled a lot, trained a lot, scored a lot of goals.
At just 15 years old, Erling Haaland made his first senior start. No fear, no hesitation, just raw hunger. At first, Berntsen experimented with him as a winger, but soon realised what everyone now knows: Haaland belonged at the heart of the attack. His instincts, his movement, and his finishing were simply too sharp to waste out wide. He didn't score in that breakthrough season, but it didn't matter. Scouts from all over Europe had already taken notice. Hoffenheim made an offer, yet Haaland chose Molde FK, drawn by the chance to work under Norwegian legend Ole Gunnar Solskjær, a man who knew everything about being a striker.
It's great to see him become the player he has become, and I know he'll work to improve all the time. He's a Dortmund player, and that's we just wish him well there, and then let's see what life will bring later on.
For Berntsen, the move was only natural. It wasn't a surprise, he later said. At 15, he was already playing senior football. He was too good for Brine. The next step had to be Molde.
Hästar igen. Haaland, och så är det Haaland som ställer Molde på den 2-1.
And by then, the world had begun to take notice. Every time Haaland put on the Norway under-15 shirt, he scored. Scouts, both national and international, started circling like hawks. But what made him special wasn't just talent, it was mentality. He didn't care who was watching, Berntsen recalled. Whether he played with friends or for his country, he never showed fear. He respected his opponents, but he never cared who they were. That fearless attitude, that refusal to be intimidated, became the essence of Erling Haaland. From Brine's small indoor pitches to Molde's professional stadium, every step felt inevitable. The boy was outgrowing every stage he reached, and everyone could see where this story was heading next. Erling Haaland's first taste of professional football came with Molde FK, and while his debut season ended modestly, with just 4 goals across all competitions, what followed the next year was nothing short of explosive. It was July 1st, 2018, when Norwegian football witnessed the moment a star was born. Molde faced Brann Bergen, the league leaders and heavy favourites. Haaland, still only 17 years old, tore them apart single-handedly 4 goals in 21 minutes, a performance so devastating that it instantly made headlines across Europe. That was the day everyone realised he was different, recalled his former coach, Alf Berntsen. He didn't just score goals, he annihilated the best team in the league. By the end of the 2018 season, Haaland had scored 12 goals in 25 league matches, numbers that drew the eyes of scouts from every major European club. Even Leeds United, the city where he was born, made an offer for him. But Erling had already set his sights higher. He chose the Red Bull Salzburg project, a team renowned for turning raw potential into world-class talent. At just 18 years old, he was ready to take that next leap. According to Christoph Freund, Salzburg's sporting director, the club had been tracking Haaland long before his breakout. We've been following Erling since 2016, when he played for Norway's under-16 team, Freund told Goal. We watched him live and analysed endless footage. Even back then, his energy, charisma, and hunger to score stood out. He wanted to score in every single match. Freund added that Haaland's personality off the pitch was just as infectious. He's full of energy and always smiling. You can't help but enjoy being around him. His positivity lifts everyone. That mix of talent, intensity, and contagious energy made Haaland impossible to ignore. Mulder had given him his first platform, but Salzburg would soon give him the world stage. It was not immediate domination, at least not at first. When he arrived in early 2019, the club already had its main striker, Mogens Dabur, who was in the form of his life with 37 goals in 48 appearances. Haaland was just 18, raw and learning, so he featured only 5 times between January and May. But everything changed that summer. At the Under-20 World Cup in Poland, Haaland announced himself to the world. In a single game against Honduras, he scored 9 goals, 9 in a 12-0 victory for Norway. It was the biggest win in the tournament's history and made Haaland the Golden Boot winner, despite Norway being eliminated in the group stage.
Perfect ball over the top again, and Haaland finishes.
When he returned to Austria, Salzburg had undergone a transformation. Marco Rose had left for Borussia Mönchengladbach, and American coach Jesse Marsch had taken over. Marsch saw something special in the young Norwegian and gave him the keys to the attack.
Erling Haaland is destined to be one of the best players in the world. And it's his quality, but it's also his talent.
The results were immediate. Haaland scored 6 goals in his first 4 league matches. He was strong, fast, clinical, a complete predator who played like he had been waiting his whole life for this moment. That blistering form earned him his senior debut for Norway in September 2019. But what came next would catapult him into global stardom. 2 weeks later, Haaland made his Champions League debut.
Played through towards Haaland, big chance!
And, of course, he did it in style. Facing Genk, he scored a hat-trick on his debut.
Oh, he's done well there, Hwang. Got the pass away too. It's Haaland again!
But he didn't stop there. He went on to score in 5 consecutive Champions League matches, becoming the first teenager ever to achieve that feat.
Pass away too. Oh, and Haaland!
Behind the scenes, his dedication was just as astonishing. His teammate Maximilian Wöber recalled how Haaland's obsession with improvement set him apart. While we played cards on team trips, he'd be reading scientific articles on how to improve his sleep or nutrition. He's constantly analysing the smallest details. By the winter break, the numbers were unreal. 28 goals in 22 games, including 5 hat-tricks. The Austrian league was too small for him now. The world's biggest clubs were circling. Manchester United, RB Leipzig, and Borussia Dortmund all lined up to sign him. Salzburg knew it was only a matter of time. Haaland had outgrown another stage, and once again, he was ready for the next one. When Erling Haaland arrived at Borussia Dortmund in January 2020, few could have predicted just how violently he would rewrite the Bundesliga's record books. In only 2.5 seasons, he scored 85 goals in 88 matches, a strike rate that defied belief and confirmed his place among the greatest forwards ever to play in Germany. His debut remains one of the most spectacular in football history. On the 18th of January 2020, Dortmund were losing 3-1 away at Augsburg. Then Haaland came off the bench. 3 minutes later, first touch, first goal. 14 minutes after his substitution, Dortmund were 4-3 up, and by the 23rd minute, Haaland had scored a hat-trick. Three shots, 3 goals, 10 touches. Pure chaos. No player had ever scored 7 goals in their first 3 Bundesliga games. Haaland did it with just 8 shots.
Haaland's fairy tale introduction to the Bundesliga.
He scored on his Bundesliga debut, his German Cup debut, and his Champions League debut, the holy trinity of first impressions. In Europe, he was just as unstoppable. By the end of his first full season, he had 25 Champions League goals in only 20 games, becoming both the youngest and fastest player ever to reach 20 goals in the competition. His 2 braces against Sevilla in the round of 16 showcased not only his clinical finishing, but also his ability to carry an entire team on his back. That same year, he became the top scorer of the Champions League, averaging a goal every 70 minutes ahead of legends like Messi and Ronaldo at that stage of their careers. In domestic football, he tore through defences for fun. In his first half season, he bagged 16 goals in 18 games. The next year, despite injury interruptions, he still managed 27 in 28. On his best day, he could dismantle opponents single-handedly, like his 4-goal masterclass against Hertha Berlin in just 32 minutes.
The flag has stayed down, it's Erling Haaland!
He even delivered silverware the 2021 DFB Pokal final, where he scored twice to secure Dortmund's only trophy of his spell.
Marco Reus has found Haaland, and he's brushed off Upamecano!
Haaland's time in Germany wasn't just about goals, it was about evolution. He learned to use both feet, became more effective in the air, and improved his link-up play. His gravity-defying scissor kick against Schalke remains one of the most iconic goals ever scored in black and yellow.
Block, Sancho, Haaland, volley, beautiful beyond compare.
And yet, the Bundesliga could not contain him forever. Injury setbacks and Bayern Munich's dominance denied him a league title, but every club in Europe already knew the next generational striker was ready for a bigger stage.
So in 3, 2, 1.
The race for his signature began, and when it ended, Manchester City had won. The Premier League was about to meet the machine built in Dortmund. Erling Haaland's first year at Manchester City wasn't just historic, it was mythical. It began quietly on the 13th of June 2022, when City announced the signing of a 21-year-old Norwegian who had already terrified Europe in yellow and black. Some doubted him. Critics said he'd struggle under Guardiola's system, that he'd need time to adapt, that the Premier League would humble him.
Erling Haaland will not live up to the expectation. I am so bored.
Why won't he?
Because he isn't the player that everybody thinks he is. People are saying that he's going to win the Golden Boot. That is outrageous. It's so disrespectful to the establishment.
Why is that?
To turn up in a new league and win the Golden Boot. That would be a ridiculous achievement, and he isn't going to do it.
Then the season started, and Haaland silenced everyone. From his first Premier League match against West Ham, he looked like something out of a video game 2 goals, one of them after a devastating sprint that made defenders look like shadows.
He's onside, Haaland. Only one result. 2-0 in front of the City fans.
Then came 9 goals in his first 5 games, including back-to-back hat-tricks against Crystal Palace
Haaland still. Haaland!
to Nottingham Forest.
Great ball, Foden heads it back, and Stones on the far, and Haaland!
Something never done before in Premier League history. By Christmas, people weren't asking if he would break records, but how many he would break. He finished with 36 league goals, smashing the all-time record of 34 set by Alan Shearer and Andy Cole.
When I've watched him, he hasn't surprised me, because when you know when there's something special, when there's a special talent there. And when I look at him, if you're building, if you want to build from scratch the perfect centre forward, he is it. He is the perfect guy.
Across all competitions, he scored 52 in 53 matches, leading City to their first ever Champions League title. Completing the treble Premier League, FA Cup and Champions League, something no English club had done since Ferguson's United in 1999.
Beckham into Sheringham, and Solskjaer has won it!
Guardiola called him a gift for football, and Haaland returned the praise. Pep is the best coach in the world. He made me even better. But what truly defined his first season wasn't just the trophies, it was the sheer volume of shattered records, each one a statement of dominance. He became the fastest player ever to reach 10, 20 and 25 Premier League goals, doing so in 6, 14 and 19 matches respectively. He recorded the most hat-tricks, 6 in a single campaign, as many as every other Premier League player combined. He scored in each of his first 4 away games, another record.
Into the gap, Grealish, Haaland, 3-0.
He became the first player ever to score a hat-trick in 3 consecutive home matches.
And over here, De Bruyne, Haaland, 3-0.
At the Etihad, he was unstoppable 22 goals at home, the most by any player in a single Premier League season.
Foden, left-footed strike from Foden off the post, there's the follow-up!
He even set the fastest mark under Pep Guardiola, reaching 25 goals in just 20 appearances. In Europe, he was just as ruthless, 12 goals in 11 Champions League matches. Including that absurd 5-goal demolition of RB Leipzig. making him only the third player ever after Messi
Champions League history for Lionel Messi.
and Luis Adriano to do it in the tournament's history. He reached 30 Champions League goals faster and younger than anyone before him. Every week, every stadium, every defender. It didn't matter. Haaland wasn't just scoring goals, he was rewriting what a striker could be. By the time the season ended, he had the best goal per minute ratio in Premier League history, won every 77 minutes, and City had the greatest season of their existence. Haaland's first year in England wasn't a debut, it was an invasion, and as Guardiola himself admitted, this was only the beginning, the Ardara. If his first year in England was a storm, the second was a controlled hurricane. Haaland won his second consecutive Premier League Golden Boot, becoming the first player in history to do it in back-to-back seasons. He finished the league with 27 goals, leading Manchester City to an unprecedented fourth consecutive Premier League title, something never before achieved in English football.
Another Golden Boot, a great season for you. Not bad for a League Two striker, eh?
No, I can't complain. It's been a lovely year again, and 4 in a row. It's amazing, this club, and I'm so proud of everyone, so yeah, happy.
Across all competitions, he added 6 goals in the Champions League and 5 more in the FA Cup, completing another 38-goal campaign that would be a career peak for most strikers, but for Haaland, it was simply routine.
Takes over, chance to shoot, does shoot!
And yes, the hat-tricks kept coming. 3 more that season, including that devastating one against Wolves.
Oh, he's given it away, Mahrez. 3, well it will be now, Haaland!
And another against West Ham.
Haaland's through on goal, can he sing West Ham? Did I need to ask the question? Did I need to even hesitate?
Where he scored 5 in one game against Luton Town, just because he could.
They could break out here. I thought he was offside. And here comes Haaland now. Erling Haaland chips the goalkeeper.
At the start of that campaign, he broke yet another record, the most goals scored in a team's first 4 Premier League matches. With 9 goals in 4 games, he shattered Wayne Rooney's old mark of 8, set in 2011/12. By the time City beat Brentford 2-1, Haaland had already scored more goals than 18 Premier League clubs combined. He was rewriting the meaning of a fast start again. The following year brought new challenges for Pep Guardiola's team, more injuries. Tougher rivals. And a higher standard of play across the league. But even in a more inconsistent City, Haaland's numbers were outrageous. He scored 34 goals in 48 appearances, including 22 in 31 Premier League matches, and for the first time added another terrifying weapon to his arsenal, playmaking.
Great control by Haaland. He's got Grealish if he needs him, but this is a thrusting surge.
Haaland provided 24 assists across competitions, proof that he's not just a finisher anymore, but a complete forward. Guardiola himself praised his transformation. He's learned how to make the team play. It's not only about goals now, he makes others better, and he did all of that while maintaining the same work rate and pressing intensity that defined Guardiola's system, something many once thought impossible for a player of his size and profile. That season also marked his 100th match for Manchester City, celebrated in classic Haaland fashion by scoring against Chelsea on the 18th of August 2024. A month later against Arsenal, he reached another absurd milestone, 100 goals for City in just 105 matches.
Now got away from Calafiori, he plays it in, Haaland one-on-one, scores!
Matching one of the fastest scoring rates ever recorded in modern football. And he didn't stop there. In his first 3 league games of the season, he scored 7 goals, surpassing Edin Dzeko's record of 6, and he did it with 2 hat-tricks in 3 games.
It's come through to Haaland. Can he get the shot away here? Erling Haaland.
A feat no one had achieved since Paul Jewell in 1994-1995. By the end of August, his hat-trick against West Ham put him level with Harry Kane as the active player with the most hat-tricks in Premier League history.
They've lost the ball and Haaland's in the penalty area and he scored!
In just 3 years in England, Erling Haaland has become more than a striker. He is a system, a symbol, and a nightmare for every defence on the planet. From his brutal efficiency in front of goal to his growing creative influence, he's no longer just scoring history, he's shaping it. And if his first 3 seasons were already legendary, this current one is on another level entirely. Because right now, Erling Haaland isn't just dominating football, he's redefining what unstoppable really means. This season, Erling Haaland has reached his final form.
And back towards Haaland, 3-0.
He's no longer just the most lethal striker in the world, he's become a complete footballer.
Erling has been incredible since the start, but especially this season is better than ever. Even, I would say, better than the travel year in terms of dynamics and everything.
Under Pep Guardiola's guidance, Haaland has learned to combine his raw power with intelligence, timing and patience. And now in the 2025/26 season, he's unlocking every single weapon in his arsenal. Guardiola has unleashed what many call Haaland's most devastating trait, his ability to run in behind with terrifying speed. City have shifted to a more vertical, direct system, and that's exactly what the Norwegian thrives on. Instead of waiting for intricate passing combinations, Haaland now explodes into space the moment the ball is released. Against Manchester United, he tore their backline apart twice first, sprinting between 2 defenders before calmly chipping Bayunda, Aita pressing Maguire into a mistake to set up Bernardo Silva and finish the move himself. Against Arsenal, he ran from deep, beating Tijani Reinders in a full-field sprint before controlling the ball perfectly and slotting it past the keeper, pure Viking power in motion. Against Napoli, he forced a red card after outrunning the entire defence on a counter-attack, and minutes later scored with an audacious header after another lightning run. And versus Monaco, his movement between centre-backs was impossible to contain, reading the indirect free kick early, darting into the gap and scoring before anyone could even react. Every goal tells the same story: speed, instinct and total control. Guardiola has built a system where the ball finds Haaland in his most dangerous zone, running into chaos. And this transformation has led to a streak that defies belief. Haaland has now scored in 10 consecutive matches, a run that includes every competition: domestic, continental and even international. It started with a goal in the loss to Brighton.
Marmoush. Still Marmoush. Haaland!
Then came the avalanche, 2 against Manchester United.
Oh, Haaland's onside! 2!
Singles against Napoli and Arsenal.
Haaland's in the clear and City have scored!
Doubles versus Burnley.
Late on. Well, he sets up Haaland!
Monaco.
Looking for the run of Haaland, who's in here, Haaland!
And Brentford.
Fighting ball to Haaland, and he's got the better of Van den Berg.
For Norway, he's been just as unstoppable, scoring the winner against Finland. Then 5 goals in a single game against Moldova.
Där kommer han! Erling Braut Haaland! Pang!
And most recently, a hat-trick versus Israel. That's 19 goals in his last 10 games, 21 in 12 overall this season. Numbers that look more like video game stats than reality. With that hat-trick, Haaland equalled Lionel Messi's record for the longest streak of consecutive games scoring 10 goals. Messi hit twice in 2010 and 2013. And Haaland doesn't just chase records, he destroys them. He's now the fastest player ever to reach 50 goals in the UEFA Champions League, needing only 49 matches, obliterating Ruud van Nistelrooy's old record of 62. For comparison, Messi needed 66 games, Mbappe 51. At just 25 years old, Haaland has 52 goals in the competition, already level with legends like Thierry Henry and ahead of Filippo Inzaghi. And let's not forget this story began long before City. 8 goals in 6 matches for Red Bull Salzburg, including a hat-trick on his debut against Genk, 15 more in 13 for Borussia Dortmund, with double braces in 6 separate games. From Austria to Germany, from England to Europe, every league, every defence, every challenge, Haaland has crushed them all. No one has ever scored faster. No one has ever scored more consistently. Every statistic, every record, every every comparison ends the same way. Erling Haaland sits alone. He's not just the best striker of his generation, he's becoming the greatest goal scorer in football history. And if his club form wasn't enough, Haaland's impact on the Norwegian national team has been just as seismic. Thanks to his incredible goal-scoring form, Norway are now on the brink of qualifying for their first World Cup since France 1998. Haaland leads all scorers in the European qualifiers with 12 goals, carrying his nation single-handedly through one of their most dominant campaigns ever. They've scored 29 goals in just 6 matches, boasting a plus 26 goal difference, the largest of any team across all World Cup qualifying groups. It's not just dominance, it's destruction. Every time Haaland steps on the pitch, Norway look like a different team, confident, ruthless, and alive. And with the 2026 World Cup in North America just months away, it feels inevitable. The Viking will lead his nation back to the world stage. Erling Haaland isn't just changing Manchester City, he's changing the history of a country one unstoppable goal at a time.